Cameroon. The name itself held a certain weight. A mystery. It was a place I knew little about, just another shape on the vast map of Africa. But sometimes the unknown places call the loudest. They whisper promises of something different, something real. I had heard it called Africa in miniature. This phrase stuck with me. It suggested a diversity, a compression of the continent. From what I read, it had beaches, it had mountains, it had dry savannas in the north, and it had the deep, wet rainforest in the south. This last part was what truly pulled me. The thought of that immense green. The idea of exploring Cameroon began as a small seed. It grew slowly, fed by curiosity. I imagined the heat, the sounds, the smells. I wanted to see beyond the postcards, if any even existed for such a place. The world is full of packaged tours, full of easy experiences. I was looking for something else, something that might push back a little, something that would not yield its secrets easily. The rainforest, especially, seemed to promise this, a place where nature was still dominant. Yaoundé revealed itself slowly. Not in a grand vista, but in fragments. The airport was small, functional. The air outside hit me like a wave, warm, thick, heavy with moisture. It carried the scent of damp earth and exhaust fumes, a familiar welcome to many tropical cities. The drive into the city was a jolt, a cacophony of horns, minibuses crammed with people, motorbikes weaving like daredevils. The city was built on 7 hills, they said, and it felt like it. Roads climbed and dipped, houses clung to slopes. Red soil was everywhere, staining the streets, the buildings, even the air. The city was not beautiful in a conventional sense, not like Paris or Rome. It had a rough, unfinished quality. Buildings stood half-built, rebar poked towards the sky, yet there was an undeniable energy, a vibrancy. People were everywhere, walking, talking, selling goods on the roadside. Children played in dusty yards. Life spilled out onto the streets. It was a city that lived outdoors, under the strong African sun, or seeking shade beneath wide mango trees. The colors were intense, bright fabrics worn by women, painted signs on small shops, the green of the vegetation fighting through the concrete. My hotel was simple. To understand a city, you must visit its market. Mokolo Market in Yaoundé was more than a market. It was a city within the city. A sprawling labyrinth of stalls, a torrent of humanity. I stepped into it with some trepidation. The noise was overwhelming. 1,000 voices shouting, music blaring from tinny speakers, the thud of cleavers on wooden blocks. The air was thick with smells, ripe mangoes and pineapples, dried fish, pungent and strong, spices I could not name. The metallic tang of blood from the butcher stalls, the sweet scent of fried dough. It was an assault on the senses, but a fascinating one. I pushed my way through the crowds. People bumped against me. Apologies were rare. It was not rudeness, just the reality of a crowded space. Everyone was focused, intent on their business, buying, selling, haggling. I saw mountains of yams, bright red tomatoes, green plantains, fabrics in every color and pattern imaginable. Second-hand clothes piled high, electronics of dubious origin. Anything and everything could be found here, if you knew where to look, and if you had the patience to search. It was a treasure trove, and a bewildering maze. The vendors were persistent. Yaoundé was not just about markets and street life, it held echoes of Cameroon's past, its struggles, its identity. I sought out these places. The Reunification Monument was one such site. A tall, spiraling concrete structure. It dominated its surroundings. It was meant to symbolize the joining of French and British Cameroons, a pivotal moment in the nation's history. Yet, standing before it, I felt a curious detachment. Monuments often try to simplify complex stories. This one felt stark, imposing, perhaps a little hollow, like a statement made too loudly. The National Museum offered a different kind of reflection. It was housed in the former presidential palace, a grand colonial building, faded now, but still retaining an air of importance. Inside, the exhibits were modest. Artifacts from different regions, traditional masks, carved wooden figures, tools and weapons. Each object told a small part of a larger story. The story of the diverse cultures that make up Cameroon. The displays were sometimes dusty, the lighting dim. So, Section 5, southbound. The road unfurls towards the green unknown. The time had come to leave Yaoundé. The city had been quite an assault, an education, but now, the rainforest beckoned. This was the real reason for my journey. I found a shared taxi heading south, a battered old Peugeot. It was crammed with people and luggage, my bag strapped to the roof. We set off in a cloud of exhaust fumes as the city receded behind us. The paved roads gave way to rougher tracks, slow and bumpy. Every kilometer brought us closer to the green heart of Cameroon. The air began to change, heavier, more humid. We passed through small villages, clusters of mud brick houses. Children waved as we drove by, their faces curious and smiling. Life here seemed simpler, slower, tied to the land. Chickens scratched in the dust, goats wandered freely. The landscape became greener, denser, the trees taller. The forest was no longer just a distant promise. It was becoming a reality. The road worsened, potholes turned into craters. The driver skillfully navigated the obstacles. For me, it was part of the adventure. The discomfort was a reminder that I was moving towards something wilder. We stopped often for police checkpoints for passengers and to buy roasted plantains. These stops were a chance to stretch, to breathe, to observe local life. As evening approached, the lights softened, the shadows lengthened. The noise of the city was replaced by the chirping of insects and the calls of unseen birds. There was a sense of anticipation and a little fear. The rainforest felt powerful, mysterious. We were heading into its depths, wondering what secrets it held. The journey itself was a transition, shedding the skin of the city. The road, however rough, was leading me where I needed to go. Section 6, Immersion. First breaths in the Jah Rainforest depths. We finally arrived at the edge of the Jah Faunal Reserve. It was late. The darkness was absolute, unlit by city glow. The air was thick, palpably wet. It smelled of damp earth, of decaying leaves, of a million living things. This was the rainforest, not a park, not a garden, but a vast, untamed wilderness. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, protected, but still vulnerable. My accommodation was a simple hut, wooden walls, a tin roof, a mosquito net over the bed, basic. But all that was needed. The forest itself was the main attraction. The first morning in Jah was a revelation. I woke to a symphony of sounds, birds I had never heard before, insects buzzing with an incredible intensity, the distant chatter of monkeys. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy. The forest floor was a world of green twilight. Giant trees towered above, their trunks thick as ancient columns. Vines snaked around them, reaching for the light. The sheer scale of it was humbling. I felt small, insignificant, a tiny speck in this immense ecosystem. It was a powerful feeling, not frightening, but awe-inspiring. Our guide was a local man, from the Baka community. He knew the forest intimately. Section 7, Canopy Conversations, the unseen life of the ancient woods. The rainforest canopy was a world unto itself, far above our heads, a hidden city of leaves and branches. It was where much of the forest's life resided. We could hear it, the constant chatter of monkeys, the piercing calls of exotic birds, the rustling of unseen creatures moving through the foliage. But seeing it was a challenge. The density of the leaves made visibility difficult. We would crane our necks, staring upwards, hoping for a glimpse, a flash of color, a movement in the green. It required patience and a bit of luck. Our guide was an expert at spotting wildlife. His eyes were sharp, his ears attuned to the forest's subtle signals. He would suddenly stop, pointing silently. "Mangabeys," he would whisper. And then I would see them, a troop of monkeys, leaping effortlessly from branch to branch, their dark fur blending with the shadows. Or he would identify a bird by its song alone, a taraco, a hornbill, their vibrant plumage a fleeting jewel against the green. These encounters were brief, but precious. A reminder of the incredible biodiversity hidden within these ancient woods. We searched for gorillas and chimpanzees, the great apes of the Jah. Their presence was felt. We saw their nests. Section 8, River Veins and Forest Souls, Life along the Jah. The Jah River snaked through the rainforest, a dark vital artery. It was the lifeblood of this ecosystem, and for the people who lived along its banks. We traveled parts of it by pirogue, a long, narrow canoe, carved from a single tree trunk, gliding silently on the water. The river offered a different perspective of the forest. The trees lined the banks like sentinels, their roots gripping the soil. Kingfishers darted past, their blue feathers a flash of brilliance. Crocodiles basked on muddy shores, slipping into the water as we approached. We visited small Baka villages. These were communities of forest people. Their connection to the Jah was ancient, deeply spiritual. They lived with the forest, not just in it. Their homes were simple structures, made from forest materials. They shared their knowledge with us, about hunting, fishing, gathering medicinal plants. Their understanding of the natural world was encyclopedic, passed down through generations. It was a wisdom born of necessity, and a profound respect for the environment that sustained them. Their lives were hard, but there was a richness too, a connection that many in the modern world have lost. The children of the villages were curious, shy at first, then playful. Their laughter echoed through the trees. They swam in the river. Section 9, Cameroon's lasting mark, an invitation to the wild. My time in Cameroon came to an end. Too soon, as it always does. The journey from the depths of the Dja back to Yaoundé was a reverse echo, from the quiet intensity of the rainforest to the bustling energy of the city. The contrast was stark, but both were part of Cameroon. Both had left their mark on me. The red dust of Yaoundé, the damp earth of the Dja, the faces of the people I met, their resilience, their warmth, their quiet dignity, these are the things that linger. Long after the details of the trip begin to fade. Cameroon is not an easy country for the casual tourist. It challenges you. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. There are frustrations, delays, discomforts, but these are part of its fabric, part of what makes it real. It is a place that does not try to be anything other than what it is: raw, vibrant, complex, beautiful in its own untamed way. The rainforest in particular was a profound experience, a reminder of the power and fragility of nature, of the importance of these wild places, and of our connection to them. I carried the sounds of the forest with me, the calls of the monkeys, the buzz of insects, the rustle of leaves. I carried the smell of the damp earth.